Well, welcome back to the Batuta Advocate radio show. You're joined by Clancy Overall, myself, and Errol Parker, editors of the Batuta Advocate. And this week, we have special guests in the shape of Tom and Eddie from Hello Sport. And of course, they're well known for their unqualified opinions and unwavering bias, which they deliver each week on the Hello Sport podcast to the punters and the dribblers. It's an exciting time for rugby league football, gentlemen.
Thank you very much for having us, Clancy and Errol.
What a pleasure. An absolute pleasure to be here.
Now two-time sort of invitees to this award-winning show.
There's been two before you that were repeat visitors.
Ty Tuivasa.
Yeah, Bam Bam and
From the area.
The grade cricketer.
the great cricketer.
So illustrious company.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Rarefied air.
Moving up, Tom. But we know our rugby league football. So if you want to dissect the coming finals and the season that was,
Yeah.
then there's no two better men to do it, in my humble opinion.
Yes.
Well, the first time we spoke to you, we discussed, it was at the start of the season, the NRL season, we were discussing the schizophrenic off-season that was. A lot of, like, some intense energy coming from the lads there.
It was a big off-season.
Yeah.
It was.
The biggest in history?
Yeah, arguably.
Yeah.
You could
Easily,
certainly,
arguably.
it'd be top three, put it that way. It's top three.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's ASC and BSC, before and after social media. The biggest off-season of all time since social media, easily.
Yeah, easy. You know, I think this is way bigger than, you know, the one that they had in 1942. You know, I guess that was a pretty long off-season. You know, that was...
Get Gasnier fired up.
Yeah, that was a particularly long one, but thankfully for rugby league at that time, social media was not present.
Thank you for, like, I mean, I guess the Dogs of War, iconic bad boy team of 2004.
Yeah.
They would be, like, incredibly thankful. There was a Parramatta bad boy era. I can't remember when that was.
Honestly, if you speak to any rugby league man worth their salt pre-social media, it was almost just like, to a man, they all go, oh, thank fuck we didn't have social media in our days, mate. Oh, geez, that would have been it would have been a complete nightmare.
Which is where the ASC, BSC metric becomes so imperative, because it's you can't really compare them.
No.
You know, it's like comparing the Don to Smudge.
Yeah.
You can't compare people from different areas. Cricket maybe not a great example, but like, okay, Joey Johns and Reg Gasnier.
Yeah.
Tough.
Tough to do. Also didn't play the same position from memory, but certainly going to be a different...
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I do. Absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, so look, so far this off-season, which has only been going for, what are we in...
11 days, though.
Yeah.
11 days.
And only for some, right?
Are we 11 days? No, we aren't 11 days. We've had 3 days.
Well, I'm thinking 11 days into September.
No, yes, but there's,
No,
Mad
you're right.
Monday 2 days ago,
Yeah.
unseasonably quiet.
Yeah, it is. And obviously this will be coming out Monday, so maybe things have changed by that point.
Well, that means that we're going to have to make a prediction on what's going to happen on Friday. The Rabbits and the Roosters.
Yeah.
So it's coming out next Monday, so we'll predict the
coming out
whole
this
goddamn
Monday.
weekend if you want it.
Yeah.
If your listeners want to make some money, that
I
is.
will predict this as well. If this is coming out on Monday, I predict at least one scandal in between now and then.
Yeah.
And off-field.
An
scandal.
off-field scandal.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think there's got to be. Yes, it's been unseasonably quiet, given Mad Monday was 2 days ago. But I think they would have been warned quite vigorously.
Probably takes
Yeah.
the league at least 4 days of solid drinking
if you get
before they start to make some sort of
Yeah.
Poor decisions.
career-defining
Yeah.
mistakes.
Well,
Once
career-ruining.
they start to leak outside of the leadership group, you know what I mean? You're around the
Once the
leadership group.
captains start to go back to their wives and children,
Yes,
and then the young sort of throbbers, the stars of the team,
The scallywags.
shitloads of
Well,
disposable income, and
It's around the time of the year where they can stop listening to people, so they form their, like, insolent group chats without the old heads.
Yeah,
so it's like
that's
the
it.
young,
Your
horny
side chat
energy.
groups.
Yeah, your side chat groups.
100%. Young throbbers, full of life, full of vigour.
Yeah,
They don't want the old heads around there
You don't
breaking
want
their style.
fucking Gallon reading this shit.
No,
you just want to keep the... Fafita's probably
What a
the cutoff.
buzzkill Gallon it'd be.
Well,
Yeah.
it's look. I think if we use the Sharks as sort of a yardstick here, Bronson Cherry isn't going out and chasing tail with Paul Gallen.
No.
Paul's got
No.
four kids,
Yeah.
300 gamer. Bronson's played one hot season of rugby league, and every bird in the Shire knows his name. probably knows his details, knows where he lives.
Northies.
100%.
He's out there.
The
putting
king
in
of
work.
Northies.
He'd be going out with his boys from under 20s,
Yeah.
and some of them wouldn't have contracts, and they'd be full scallywag.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They got nothing to lose.
Nothing
Yeah.
to lose. They're plumbers.
Yeah, they're plumbers. They are. They got nothing to lose other than like a career in the NRL. But they but they're not going to lose. You're right. That apprenticeship, the plumbing apprenticeship. So
They got something to fall back on.
there's a good energy, probably starting about now. You're right.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
few days drinking, a little bit of
Nose A.
extracurriculars. Yeah, there'd be.
Well, that's right.
Mm.
You know, the testing's out of the way, perhaps.
Look, I don't know whether the testing pool ever stops. I think there's probably a bit of it that sort of happens.
But I'd like to think the first couple of days out are high risk, particularly after what we've seen in past seasons.
Yeah.
When did it really crank up last year, though? It was just fucking start to finish, wasn't it?
In terms of the Mad Monday,
Well, Bulldogs went straight off the bat.
Yeah.
Bulldogs were literally within sort of 24 hours into Mad Monday, and that was like, you know, hindsight's 2020, right? So now we can go, wow, that was really the start of one of the great off seasons of our time.
Yeah.
But you know, it just seemed like, oh, okay, Bulldogs fucked up. Here we go. We'll move on, and then it just sort of kept happening, kept happening, and now one for the record books.
Yeah, sensational form. But
Yeah.
I guess now we're talking on-field drama as well. A lot of is the grubbiness ramped up in the last few months? Like these
Yeah.
judiciary,
Depends
I
who
guess.
you speak to.
Yeah,
Because some old commentators are saying, this is ludicrous.
Yeah.
What do you mean? What, you're suspending him for a game because he's pulled some bloke's hair?
Sam Burgess was
Sam
talking
Burgess,
about
we're
it.
talking about
Yeah.
as an example. Whereas other people are like, well, you can't pull hair, bruh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it
You
feels
can't.
like a lot of the time they're sort of arguing amongst themselves. I don't know if the grubbiness has gone up a level or we're getting more ruthless with it.
I think some of the grubbiness has gone up because certainly eye gouging is definitely like
It's almost back, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
it's
back.
it's like
Yeah.
the soup du jour of the season is just like eye gouging's been the thing.
By an
But-
Englishman.
Well, Poms but you know what? To
Well, yeah.
lesser known Poms, there's also been some Raiders. Some like
Well,
there's a guy that's now been suspended for more games than he's played. He's been suspended for 13 weeks and he's only played 12 games.
He's giving Hopper a run.
Shout out to Hudson Young, who's setting the scene for one of the great rugby league.
But he's a
careers.
Pom, isn't he?
No, he's not. He's Australian.
That's such an English
Yeah.
name. Ooh.
Yeah, I think he's
Hudson Young.
straight out of Newcastle.
Is that why they're calling them the Peaky Raiders? Because there's so many Poms there, or is it because they're blinding people with their fingers?
Well, I mean, I think both are probably apt, but I do believe it is Pom based because
Yeah.
that Ricky's got like a real thirst for a tough Englishman.
For a tough Yorkshireman.
And they've been doing him well. They've been proving him, he's been proven correct largely.
Yes.
Until, the weekend they were going to finish third. But they're top four.
Yes.
So history tells you can win the comp, Tom.
Oh, absolutely.
But I don't think they can win the comp.
No, the Raiders aren't winning the comp.
No.
So who's your final two then?
Look, I'd say that it's if you were going to be putting
Your hard earned.
your
Put your hard earned
it.
on it.
If I was putting my hard earned on it, or if I was putting, like
No, put your hard earned
if
on
I was investing my child's responsibly, my child's college fund on
Yes.
it,
yep.
I would say that it's going to be Roosters Storm. But if I was then trying to then make a bit more on the college fund, I'd maybe throw the Rabbitohs in there
Yep.
instead of the Roosters.
I just think that the Roosters and the Storm are just head and shoulders above.
Yeah.
But there's always curveballs. There's
Raps-
curveballs every year. Like, realistically, if you look back through a lot of NRL seasons, it's not always the best two teams that make it. Like, a lot of the time, it's not. It would be one of the best teams and then maybe a random. Last year was probably, you would say, the best two teams.
Yes.
But that doesn't happen that consistently,
No,
right?
I think the
maybe there's a
Rabbitohs' late
curveball.
season form just suggests Russell's back at training. Russell loves to roll into the club late season and sort of be like, "Don't forget that I own you, motherfuckers."
Yeah, it looked like the first time he'd met Wayne Bennett in those photos.
Yeah.
It could have been, but also Russell's a bit of an operator when it comes in rugby league terms.
He's an operator.
Yeah.
He brings the club back from the brink, gives them a premiership.
and then just rolls in and reads from some book of feuds that I'm not actually sure exactly what it is. I certainly don't think that it really is that sort of like inspiring. Maybe it is if you're a South player, but it's sort of like the rugby
You're a
league
league
Bible.
player, yeah. Yeah, well, and another thing is Russell's having a bit of a glow up himself now because he was so fat and he obviously had the auction of all of his
Selling all of his
shit
Forgive
for
me while I
the,
just
for the
bring this
divorce.
mic up.
And then he got extremely fat to play Roger Ailes in the loudest voice. And now he's kind of shedding the kegs and he's back.
He might be mid-globe because I did see a photo and he certainly didn't look like he'd lost weight.
Yeah.
Or he didn't look like he was back to sort of, gladiator Russell,
Yeah.
which is, the Russell we know and love.
Yeah.
But
But there's a thirst there, I imagine. Like there's a... Yeah.
it's finals time, Russell
Well,
gets
that's
up for
that's
finals
the thing. He loves rugby league,
Mm.
does Russell. He absolutely gags for it. So you're not going to keep him out of the headlines or off the training pitch when the Rabbitohs are a sniff. I think there's three teams that can, jag a prem.
Mm-hmm.
Rabbit, Storm, Roosters.
Maybe
And if-
Manly Seagulls.
Maybe Manly. We'll get to them. Long shot. And you know the punter and the dribbler love long shots.
Yeah.
But I think that if, Russell, he's not going to stay away from training and stay away from a couple of bum taps and getting the boys up and about for a fucking huge semi-final on Friday night. It doesn't get any bigger.
No.
SCG to established clubs to foundation clubs.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting, though, because I think that the real discussion after all of this is over is what year in the future the Roosters or the Storm are going to have this premiership taken away from them for absolutely rorting the fucking salary cap.
Yes. Storm have done well to sort of try and rehabilitate their image and go like
How many did they get stripped off them?
2.
Fuck.
Four
that's-
minor premierships.
2 or 3, 4.
Yeah.
Do your own research on those numbers in terms of the minor premierships, but they've certainly had 2 premierships stripped from them. They don't look like they're cheating the salary cap really now when you've Billy Slater's gone, Cooper Cronk's gone. Roosters, though,
Yeah.
and obviously all alleged and unsubstantiated, but are 100% cheating the salary cap, allegedly, unsubstantiatedly. I don't want to, put any words into...
Tom, it's all alleged,
No.
but they 100% are.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, they fucking are.
You know what I mean? You look at their side,
Yeah, it
go
doesn't
through
make
their
sense.
side. They've got like 8 New South Wales players. They've got shitloads of bloody test players.
Yeah.
littered
Yes,
throughout
but the Roosters is a team that builds and fosters talent.
Yes, that's right. No, they've got
Name
a
me
rich
a Roosters
junior.
junior.
Base. It's literally Victor Radley.
Victor Radley's
Victor Radley.
it.
And he's
Yeah.
probably on $1 million, which, is absurd.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, they're already on big coin, and then Uncle Nick gets them. He tops them up very generously out of his third party fund.
Allegedly.
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 This is all alleged.
Yeah.
Don't take any of this as gospel, but also...
But also,
Take
just
it-
look at it.
yeah.
It's sitting right in front of you. You got about 10 players on more than 800 grand. You tell me.
Here's a question. Do you reckon the current Roosters side, given they were all New South Wales players, would have beaten that third match Origin side?
the Queensland team.
Yeah.
I reckon they
Probably.
would have.
Yeah.
I reckon they would have. That's almost an Origin
Well,
team there.
Yeah, mate, you could argue that a club side as good as them with that amount of talent in the back end of a season would beat an Origin side because they've been together for 24 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Origin is a very disjointed camp. You probably
Yeah.
don't get longer than 10 days
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
But they could have run. I reckon
Cons-
they could have run that Roosters
Consistently,
side.
right?
They
For the
could have run
Blues.
for New South Wales
shit.
minus your Cooper Cronk.
Yeah.
Obviously, you'd put in Nathan Cleary, the greatest playmaker the state's seen, and get him in there.
Since Joey.
Since Joey. Best since Joey. BSJ. And he would have obviously had to have
Lol.
filled in for Cooper.
Fuck,
in
he's
that
got a good
situation.
chin on him, doesn't he? No.
One of the great chins in Wales.
Well, I reckon that's why he keeps getting picked.
Yeah.
I reckon they're picking him on chin.
How does he go with head knocks? Because the chins tend to go down. Like the
Well,
Brent
depends if you've got a
Tate
good
did. Yeah.
chin.
yeah, Brent
Yeah.
Tate would
Like
go
Iron
down.
Mike had an iron chin.
Well, see, like, there's a difference between having a good chin aesthetically and a
Glass
and
chin.
and a glass jaw. His seems to be. I haven't seen the chin tested yet, so I think the jury's out on necessarily.
Oh,
on the
I
st-
reckon
on the-
he's got good chin pedigree. I look at it and I go, that's a good chin.
Well, his old man was a good player.
That's right.
And it's also the Slavic kind of jaw as well.
It's strong.
Yeah.
And yeah. The Slavic jaw is known for its durability.
And right angles.
Well, yeah. Right angles and durability, the hallmarks
of a Slavic jaw.
of a Slavic
Yeah.
jaw.
Tommy Radonicus.
A life lived under communism. You know, this is why everyone in this country is so soft.
yeah, absolutely.
Because you don't have the jaws
This
from
is-
nibbling rations.
The country of the round chin. It is.
Yeah, a soft chin is not what you
We
want.
put goatees on our chins because we don't have.
Well,
To
a
try
lot
and
of,
give
a
him
lot
some
of people do
definition.
that to hide the fact that their chin meets their neck.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, chinless.
Chinless.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
chinless.
Speaking of
Comes with
chinless,
a skirt, mate.
chinless. How about those bloody Manly Sea Eagles with the asbestos?
This is upset me.
Well, Look, I'll let Tom lead it off, but I will say this off the top: it's an absolute witch hunt.
It's a witch hunt. I'd like to ask the question: which suburban ground in this fine land of ours is not riddled with asbestos? It just so happens that on the eve of the finals, Manly hasn't been in the finals for a couple of years. That they find a bit of asbestos on the hill, a tiny patch.
In the hill.
They've had to dig under the earth to find this thing, and then they're going, oh, we might have to
It's
cancel
in
that.
the hill.
In the hill.
Boys, that's worse.
No.
You know that, because that just means there's so much more in there.
If it's in the hill, there's going to be a lot more cases of itchy lung that are going to be coming out.
Yeah,
Well, only when the earth is
disturbed.
disrupted.
Yeah, on every Saturday when there's fucking
I'd
dudes
actually
going
say
up and
it's
down the hill.
10,000
I'd say
fucking
it's more
drunk
compacted.
surfers
It's
on
10,000.
Mate, why do they care now? Manly, for the first time in a long time, been given a home final.
But, you know,
'Cause we always get taken to Allianz.
Eddie, I understand what you're saying, but the thing is, this isn't like 2015 when they're like, oh, the Cowboys have suspicious houses in Townsville. We're trying to ruin their fucking momentum. This is asbestos.
Yeah, but if you cared that much, you would have cared 10 years ago. You know what I mean? Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. Nothing's happened to the ground in 30 years, probably.
Yeah.
So that's 30 years of asbestos lung, is that if you go down that path.
And I think we need to start canvassing Manly fans that are around the sort of 50, 60, age, 60 years old mark.
Not just
They've
to
been on the
donate their
beaches.
brain.
Just see how they're actually going. Check their lungs out. Because for mine, Eddie, and I haven't done the numbers to a conclusive degree, but I don't know of any current Manly fans suffering asbestosis.
Well, you and I were at Manly Leagues. You were at Manly Leagues the other week.
Everyone
and
looked like
everyone
they were
in there was
breathing
fit
fine.
as a fiddle.
Cliffy
Absolutely
Lyons
fit
is
as a
fit.
fiddle.
He's still smoking darts.
Still
and
smoking darts.
A lot of those boys are, right?
Also, rugby league is inexorably linked with asbestos. James Hardy
Well, that's
was
what they
on
said.
the
Yeah.
Parramatta
He was
On the
jersey.
Parramatta jersey.
In the 80s.
Asbestos has a proud history of supporting the league.
that was back when Parramatta played like they worked for James Hardy.
Completely breathless.
It's not too soon. It's not too soon. It's some good gear here, though.
Yeah.
So look, I mean, storm in a teacup. Storm in a teacup. I mean, asbestos is asbestos. Jury's out on what how bad it is. I know that my back shed was made of asbestos, and I used to smash it up regularly. And I'm
Well,
I'm
they've
fine
started
right
calling
now.
it. They started calling it
Yeah.
the Eagle Jib Rock.
Like it.
That's
like
nice.
it.
But-
And another issue with Manly, one of their owners, Scotty Penn, has put his hand up. He's got a bit of trouble with the ATO.
Oh, really?
Do you reckon that's going to destabilise the camp? He reckons, he's in the hole for about $2 million, as reported by the Daily Telegraph down there in Sydney.
Okay.
Well, Scotty Penn, I know, and the Penn family done a lot for the club. But I've been hearing whispers for a while they've been trying to sell. Now, whether or not that's linked with Scott's issues or alleged issues with the ATO.
Yeah.
But these things can be smoothed over.
It absolutely stinks of the Brisbane Bombers.
Yeah, this
coming in. Or the Bears, the stinky Bears.
This is
Are
a
you talking-
destabilizing tactic from these very desperate, consortiums trying to get another team off the ground, trying to make out that Manly's fucked.
Well, Toddley Greenberg has ties to the ATO, and I mean,
Yes.
this could be an underhand tactic by Toddley to try and unsettle us.
Well, Toddley's trying to basically
Is
sort
Toddley
of-
anti-Manly in your minds? As Manly degenerates?
Well, you know what it is. Toddley knows. I think that they need to move a team from Sydney.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people say they shouldn't be riots in the street and stuff, but financially. They have to move one, right? Which is all that really matters to him,
But what's
dollars
the
and cents.
What is the thinking? Is the thinking that if you remove one from Sydney...
Well, it's the competition's too hot for like third-party deals and
Right.
sponsorship,
Okay, so that's
which
it.
floats.
But it's not membership, because I was thinking
No, no.
those people aren't going to join another club. If you're
No, I
worried
think
about
it's
a
more
saturation.
sponsorship
I
dollars.
think they're going, you know what? We're happy to wear the loss of the 13,000 members of this beta
12 and a
club.
half, I believe.
Yeah.
We've got the
And we'll
second lowest.
and we'll go somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
So
But the thing is, like, you speak to any bloody North Sydney Bears fan, they just still go for the North Sydney Bears.
Yeah.
They don't really go for anyone else.
Yeah,
so it's
yeah.
not like you redistribute.
They support
premierships.
rugby league. Yeah, that's it.
They don't. They're not. You're not
they watch
redistributing
games.
memberships.
Well, I know as a tried and true Manly fan, if you didn't know already, that were we to be moved anywhere or just sort of shut down as a club, I would certainly not go for another team. I'd just drink every weekend.
But if they,
We just got many leagues and dream of what was.
what might have been.
if they move the Sea Eagles
To Gosford.
to Gosford, would you go for them from Gosford?
Not if they called them the Gosford Sea Eagles, bro. Like they need to be the
So
Manly
you're more
Sea Eagles.
tied to the name of the place that you're not from
Well,
than the actual mascot.
my ancestry is from. I have deep ties to the area.
I would look on them fondly,
Yes.
but I wouldn't be a member. I wouldn't be up there every Sunday afternoon with a tin in hand barracking from the hill. No. So we'd certainly lose something. Central Coast aren't getting a team. We all know where the second team's going, and it's Brisbane or the Brisbane Basin.
It seems.
That's
It
a
just
fact.
seems weird. Like it would seem weird to go. We need to get it. We need to get it. We need to. If they want to expand, it seems weird to go. Too many teams in Sydney. Let's move one of the Sydney teams to the Central Coast. So like, well, that just doesn't. That's that's a rugby league move.
Yeah.
This
Actually,
people have flagged moving one of the Queensland teams, Titans, to the Central Coast. Like, let's just take a team out of Queensland.
and give New South
Wales
Wales another
another one,
team.
yeah.
You're like rugby league. Stop for a
Singleton-
second.
So-
John Singleton tried.
He's
And
trying.
Yeah.
He's,
And he
every
threw
day he
shitloads of
tries.
money at it,
He-
and apparently he had all the elite, like 3 elite rugby league operators lined up for all the management positions, coaching positions. He had a Worcester coin. They were selling memberships like on paper, sort of in the lead up to some sort of move. Never happened. They go, nah, we're going to go up to the Gold Coast.
Yeah, nothing-
where clubs cannot survive.
Yeah. Well, this is what we
It's eternal darkness up there.
This is, I mean, but in terms of eternal darkness, that exists right across rugby league from a business kind of perspective. And we were talking about this before. Has the rugby league is a way of saying it because we've had a Super League war and we've had a few different codes, and the current NRL has existed in many incarnations beforehand. Have the rugby league ever made the right decision? Ever in any capacity? Like,
Yeah. I think what happened with the Dragons, I think that they had to merge because they had been blowing blue smoke for a long time. They were...
Yeah, and then in their support of Manly's unmerging.
You know what? But again,
That's what we said.
To Clancy's point, that's correcting a mistake.
Yeah.
So like,
great correction.
So Rabbitoh's gone.
Yeah,
they have to
bring
come
him
back.
back
No, you're
in.
right.
Yeah.
But I do agree that the Dragons going or merging with Illawarra Steelers, I would have happily seen Illawarra just stay as a team and the Dragons go. Just such is my visceral disdain for the Dragons.
Yeah.
But absolutely, the rugby league struggled to make sort of correct decisions initially, but they're also not afraid of going, we fucked up.
Yeah. Well, but they always do, and they have to every time.
Well,
We're currently
But
saying this
in light
about...
of that, though,
Yeah.
sort of scary about what may happen with the removal of a Sydney team if that's what happens.
Because
Yes.
it'll happen, and it'll be the wrong decision.
Yeah.
just move
Yeah.
move the Titans up the road.
Yeah.
Is that
Change
hard?
the name. Just kill the Titans off.
Yeah, kill them off.
Is that
Ipswich.
hard? Honestly.
How hard? I don't know how it goes with franchising and clubs entering the comp, but say like an already existing institution like the Redcliffe Dolphins, which
Well,
is
that's who they're talking about.
can you just, like they did back in the day with the New South Wales Rugby League, can you just bump a fucking Q Cup side up, or do you have to
Yeah.
create a whole
That's what
fucking?
I'm
No,
saying.
I think
And then you take them down,
I heard- I
where...
heard they got called.
Really?
Really?
Well,
what are you saying?
I reckon if it worked a bit like the EPL in England, where you have like
Promotion, relegation.
the best teams in the country are at the top, and then you've got the dribblers down the bottom who are just fighting to get back up.
Yeah.
So
Fighting
Q
for
Cup
scraps.
plays
Yeah.
in trust.
So
No,
yeah,
so in trust is Q Cup.
Yeah.
there's
Yeah, so
there's a Queen
at the
there's
end
a
of
Q Cup,
every
and there's a
season
New South
now-
Wales, the whatever it's called, the Canterbury Cup, and then at the end of the season they play off.
That would
for
be
like
such
the-
a red hot match. The winner
Yeah.
of Q Cup, because the winner of that ends up in the NRL.
Right.
Yeah,
That'd
The
be
because
bottom of the
now-
ladder gets bumped down.
Hypothetically now, you take the two teams at the bottom, so you take out the Titans and the Dragons,
Yeah.
take them out, put them down into...
Take him out the back of the shed.
Yeah, and then you put two teams either from the New South Wales Cup or the Q Cup up
Yeah.
into the NRL.
Only problem I think with that
would
whole
never
idea is
happen.
that, I don't think it'll happen. The only problem there is that
It'll be
there's
New South
already
Wales.
such a sparse amount of members for clubs
Yeah.
across the board. So it's like now if you're to sort of promote and relegate these relative nobody
The
teams.
difference is too vast.
Yeah, in terms
So like,
of like
in the EPL,
even just
you can
awareness.
have big clubs
Just-
in the championship and vice versa. And then if the lower you go,
They've also got the
more
population to
level they are.
support it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like we've got.
Yeah.
And
Fuck all
Like
people.
imagine if one year, like last year, Parramatta and Manly went out.
Couldn't handle that.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But
I
Parramatta,
wouldn't be sitting
proud
here.
club, St George, proud club.
And you know
they
what the-
just couldn't have that.
And the
They
problem
couldn't
would
risk it.
be that it had just been other Sydney clubs getting in. It'd be the Bears and the Jets are back in.
Yes.
That's
Or-
the problem.
Yes.
How about if
12 Sydney
we
clubs.
privatise all the teams and we take away the salary cap?
Are they all private?
No, they're
No,
not
a lot
all
of
private.
a lot of them owned by the clubs.
And
Well,
some
yeah.
are owned by
Clubs.
the NRL because they're such.
Yeah, well,
bigger
the
pieces
Titans,
of
and that's why
shit.
the Titans will never succeed, is because they're owned by the NRL, which means they extra can't cheat. You know what I mean?
I heard.
Yeah,
the
that's
reason,
right. They need to be able to cheat.
I heard the
Yeah.
reason they don't work is because there's no sponsorship dollars in the Gold Coast region, so
Right.
it's so hard financially to get them up and about.
Just
Like
insurance
it's
and fucking
growing
retirement
in
homes.
terms of population,
Yeah.
but there's no money there.
There's a lot of
Or
drug
except
money on the
cash.
Gold Coast.
Yeah,
They've
yeah.
got to work
Yeah.
out how to try and include, like, to work
Well,
drug money into
if
sponsorship.
they gave some sort of,
Bikey get a fucking...
yeah,
the bikies
yeah.
get a patch.
If you want to clean your coin, invest in the time.
That's it, right?
Wash your cash. We won't ask any questions.
Yeah.
No, we're all good.
I mean, but look, they're not forward thinking enough. The
No,
NRL.
No,
they're
yeah,
not.
exactly.
They're
That's
not.
it.
They don't think...
And they don't have a clubhouse. Like they don't have a club.
I'm sure a bikie gang would be happy to open up their clubhouse for the Titans to come in, get them patched in,
Yeah.
get them inked up.
Hey, Jared Hayne
scarred up.
basically did it. We saw that on that brief Snapchat video.
Pokies are over there, mate. And the bistro opens at 6.
You need a leagues club. You need a wet counter meal.
You do.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Although, does every team have
A leagues?
a club?
Mate, the Crushers have still got one in Brizzy, North Side.
Yeah, but no one cares about
Yeah, I
that.
bet that's
But
They
in
got a
terms
good
of
Chinese
who owns the
bistro.
clubs, I think it varies.
every club has a place they go back to like.
Yeah.
Balmain don't.
Most teams have a leagues.
Balmain let their one
but
go.
Balmain,
for fun.
no, like
Balmain are
NRL
owned by
sides.
Western Suburbs who have a leagues club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The Balmain Leagues Club actually is, I think, one of the saddest places in the nation.
Mate,
You
it's
go
just
past-
been let.
It's a ghost town, and it's been like little, youths have got in there and just trashed the joint,
it's sick.
tagged and shit.
Yeah. And they
It's-
actually left some of the merch on the wall. Like, they left some of the fucking...
It
Oscar-
hasn't
Well-
been. They just closed the doors one day and left. They didn't
It's
even
a
bother
metaphor
taking
for
shit
the
off
club
wall.
itself.
That's it. It is.
Big
It's
Wayne
what Bris-
Pearce
it's
is
what,
getting
it's what
grafted
Balmain
over.
became.
Yeah,
They
Which
yeah.
is sad.
It should be West Magpies. And
Well,
that's-
Ashfield-
sorry.
Ashfield's the-
Sorry, Tigers. You couldn't get your
Yeah.
affairs in order. You're a disgrace.
They've got two leagues clubs, I think. They've got Ashfield and they've got the MacArthur Campbelltown.
Yeah, they got a few but I mean, look,
It's a
if we're
mega
talking
merger.
They've
about
got
a
like
club,
4 home grounds as well.
if we're talking about a club that needs to go, it's from Sydney. It's the West Tigers.
Yeah.
No offense to any West Tigers. Well, no, I don't care.
No, lots of
no.
offense.
Lots of offense. Your club sucks. Like there's no soul to it.
You're owned by the Magpies now. You
Yeah,
don't
there's-
even own
are you
yourself.
Balmain? Are you
and the
West?
Magpies, the most unsuccessful club in their history that comp.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Pre-
appalling. Oh mate, look at the spoons they've won.
Even as Fibros before
The
the
Western
Yeah.
Magpies
Real spoon.
they almost got the boot just for
Spoon
being
wardens.
appalling.
Yeah.
You know, everyone else lost
The
it
holder
because
of
it
the
was
spoon.
money and the board was fucked and all that. But the Magpies they just go, you've won too many spoons.
Well, that might look. I've had this theory, and I've mentioned it on a few podcasts. You can put that fucking Balmain jersey into a museum, and people in Balmain can talk about when we had a rugby league team here before we all became graphic designers and earned over $200K a year and stopped caring about rugby league. But what do you do with the Magpies? You move them to Ipswich and you build a club there. The fans will follow, I reckon, with that Magpie brand, and you call it the Western Corridor Magpies.
Look, I wouldn't be
mind
mad at it.
I don't
mind.
hate it. It makes sense.
It moves a club.
It's better than having 12
And then
teams in
just
Western
give-
Sydney,
just
which
give
is what we
Balmain-
currently have, and it's
Yeah.
like you're talking about oversaturated areas. You have Penrith, Parramatta, West Tigers, the Bulldogs,
Yeah.
and then they're going, "Oh, where are we going to get rid of a team? How about the dirty merger club that's doing fuck all?
Yeah.
They haven't made a final since 2011.
Yeah. And also, let's just remember that none of those cunts follow West Tigers. They don't. They resent them. The Magpies fans.
No, they hate. Yeah, that's it.
resent
They're all
them.
Yeah.
They
self-loathing.
all reckon Robbie Farah wears tape over his sleeve when he's got the magpie on the sleeve. Like,
Oh,
they're
does he?
They're
Oh,
conspiracists.
I'm
mate.
sure Robbie does. I'm sure
Oh,
Robbie
he
does.
probably does do that, to be honest.
Just go look. It was a
Allegedly.
hell of a ride, Balmain. Now, fuck off and play in the New South Wales Cup like the Jets.
Yes.
You know what I mean? People still love the brand of the Jets,
people
but no
do
one
like it.
cares enough for them to come back.
Yeah,
No.
definitely.
Go play in the New South Wales Cup with the Bears and the Jets and all the other have-beens.
All right, Toddler, you heard it here. Western Corridor Magpies. Ipswich need a team, and maybe we could just cancel the Titans and move them to Mackay.
I think the Titans should be cancelled.
Yeah.
I heard
Yeah.
next in line, though, was Redcliffe Dolphins.
Okay.
I heard they've been given a tap on the back and gone,
Well, there's-
get your affairs in order.
There's also Brisbane
They're a pretty
Bombers.
tidy club, but see, this is another one, and this is the rugby league. This is the
But I think
decision
it's
they will
Brisbane
make.
Broncos been like,
No,
no,
Bombers.
No, I know, but Brisbane, I think, were
Oh,
like,
right.
nah, we've got the inner city.
But
vibe.
have you actually heard the fucking proposal with the Bombers? The plan is they create another club based in Brisbane, not South Brisbane, not East Brisbane, Brisbane. It's called. So there's the Brisbane Broncos, and sharing a home ground at Suncorp with them will be the Brisbane Bombers.
Right. So it's
Who
like
even
having.
knows? The colours might even be similar. Who knows?
So it's like the Manly Seagulls and the Manly Seabirds.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
definitely.
I mean, I'm not
And
so
at
sure
the
about
same
this.
home ground.
Yeah.
But the thing is, and I guess this is probably half the reason why the NRL, the rugby league, make such bad decisions. The Bombers, much like the Broncos, has been done by a poll. And they asked the citizens, whoever's interested. The Brisbane Broncos had 5 names when they were entering the comp, and they were all Bs. Brumbies, everyone thought it was going to be, and they let them vote, and it became the Brisbane Broncos. Who the fuck knows why? I don't know many people in suburban
mad
Brisbane
name,
who
but-
say
Yeah, it is a
Broncos.
good name, though.
It's a good name.
But imagine having a fucking, like, a list of names that you could call your club anything, and you call it the fucking Bombers.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
I mean,
It's an
why?
absolute shocker.
And it's named after a fucking AFL team.
Yeah, right?
What,
Yeah.
But what are people honestly going to go for the Bombers over the Broncos?
No.
Really?
No.
The only people that will are the people that like to be different. And
Yes.
people don't really like
Every
those sort of
friendship
people.
group's got a few of
Yeah.
them who are like, oh yeah, I support Queensland, but I live in New South Wales,
Yes,
or vice versa. And
exactly.
you're like,
It's
you
people
are the
that
sort
go
of
for their
loser.
state they've never been in.
Yeah.
I mean, Tom and I have got a mate goes
Yeah.
for Queensland, never been there.
Yeah,
for God's sake.
that's revolting. And as Queenslanders, you know, we enjoy watching Blues fans get worked up, but we don't even want them. We don't even want those traders that you send out.
No, but I mean the traders go both ways. So that you've got your Queensland-based New South Wales fan, or like your New South Wales-based Broncos fan who's never lived in Queensland. You're just like, mate, you're
Switch on, bro.
the epitome of a rugby league loser.
Now these are the names for the Brisbane Bombers, which is fucking. I should point out an actual like body right now.
A consortium. I love that they call it consortium.
Yeah, it's a
It's always
consortium.
everyone trying to get a rugby league team together is a consortium.
It's got a very similar logo to the fucking Essendon Bombers, that's for sure. I'll just put that up
Yep.
to the camera there. Show that to them.
And,
What's all that about?
oh, jeez,
Yeah.
it's just different colours.
It's the same shit.
yeah,
But
it's a bloke who looks like he's about ready to drop a bunch of big bombs on some German towns.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah. He looks like
Their
a...
secondary colour is orange.
Yeah. Navy and orange is
No.
yeah.
no.
Orange is a shocker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless it's orange and black, which, as we said, has been retired. Now, this is what the names were. Okay, this is after conducting market research in March 2011.
I bet it was extensive market research.
The bid group announced 15 shortlisted names. Okay, and the colours were also fucking done by market research. This is what. So there was 4 names they could have had. They could have had South Queensland, which would have worked.
Yeah.
They could have had the River City, which is pretty red
I'm
hot.
not mad at that. That sounds like the name of an
The
album.
River City
It's a bit lame.
Or just
Well,
It's
this
lame,
is,
but
there's,
it's like
and
a-
there's
it's
a
like an
list of
album.
what goes with each.
Every
And then
city has a
Eastern-
river.
So this is a list.
Every city worth its salt.
Brisbane Barracudas,
Oh, dude.
Nah.
Brisbane Bayliners,
Next.
the Brisbane Bobcats,
Kill
No.
me.
Brisbane Bombers, equally as shit as all the ones I've already said.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
The Brisbane Braves,
Oh,
That
this
is
is so it's so Americanized.
some
the
fucking-
Brisbane Brewers,
Fuck.
Brewers.
yeah,
As in like
Shocking. All of these are shocking.
Brisbane Buccaneers,
What is a buccaneer? Just quickly.
I think it's a happy-go-lucky pirate.
well known for Brisbane's river system.
So is there any sort of like responsibility to name it after like an animal of the area or something representative? I know that a titan isn't a thing, but like if you're gonna call it a buccaneer, like should there be some sort
Should
of
there be Buccaneers
There's a few
rolling
more.
around?
There's Brisbane Heat, which obviously ended up being a T20 team.
I don't see no.
I hate that as well.
No,
That's like a
scorches,
feeling.
hurt,
Okay, this is another one.
stars,
There was
so
one for
forth.
Eastern. It was Eastern Stingrays.
I like the Stingrays, but I don't like the Eastern before.
Yeah,
it.
because that's already, whatever. River City Kookaburras.
Oh my god.
And then
It sounds like a hockey team, and I can't move past it.
yeah. River City Kookaburras is a hockey team. Now, for South Queensland, there was 5. There was the South Queensland Cyclones. But that also sounds like Titans. It's just fucking...
Yeah.
Cyclones, are they prevalent?
No.
I don't think so.
Not that far south. South Queensland Dolphins, which...
I like Dolphins.
I like
as a team.
Dolphin.
I like
Yeah.
Dolphins.
You may
as
as
a
well bump
team.
up Redcliffe if you're going to
Yeah,
have
you
a
may as
Dolphins.
well, yeah.
Which I think they should do.
South Queensland Rogues.
Oh, please.
The South Queensland Spartans.
That's
that's a
whoever
bit too
came up
close
with
to-
that one should not be allowed to ever sort of vote.
I think
or
it
be
is actually
involved
a
in
bunch
Spartans
of... It's a bunch
and
of
the
Greek
Titans.
construction guys, actually, that are behind this
You know what
consortium.
this sounds like? It sounds like their market research involves people taking the piss.
Yeah.
Going, fucking, let's stitch these pricks up.
Sounds like people are taking the piss out of them.
And,
And the colours back that up. Orange and navy. For God's sake.
and South Queensland Taipans.
no.
Again, that's Taipans
Haven't
already
heard what I
taken
like.
by the
Cool. Cairns.
proud Cairns Taipans of the
In the-
NBL.
Yeah.
The Snakes are one of the great teams in the NBL, and I think it's disrespectful to even try and
You're absolutely right.
take that name.
The Brisbane Bombers intend on playing all home games at Suncorp Stadium. It was speculated there was a number of options for a home base, including Davies Park in West End,
Or
Dolphin
Ballymore.
Park in Redcliffe, and 2 locations in the Redlands, but they decided upon the same place that the Brisbane Broncos play.
Well, before we move on, there are some rival bids going up against the Bombers for the next spot in the NRL, and they include, off the top of my head, the West Coast Pirates, the Central Coast Bears, the Western Corridor bid, as you were talking about that, as a bid from Central Queensland, doesn't have the name yet, Redcliffe Dolphins, the Brothers Leprechauns.
Where
Brothers
the,
Leprechaun.
but where
Now
the
that's-
fuck?
can we just-
Where are brothers based?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Brothers is just sort of like a vague term of
kinda
like
Catholic.
because like
Yeah.
brothers is like
the CMFU's team.
you're
Yeah, brother. The comrades. The brothers' comrades.
Well, they're based in Brisbane. Their home ground is Corbett Park,
All right. So,
in a Lang Park, and then in a Bray Park.
so it's another Brisbane team.
Yeah.
Again, I think you just need to at least tell us where you're from. Though.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you can't just
Well,
sort of be like, "Oi, the mates."
But these 2 other ones, I think, might have a bit of merit. The South Pacific Cyclones.
Ooh, is this like an island of
Yeah.
flavour?
Yeah. Which
Not mad
which
at that.
which I guess which I guess it'd have to be based
what was
in New
the
Zealand.
mascot? Sorry.
The Cyclones.
See, that could date real bad.
Yeah.
You know, especially with climate change.
Well, but also certainly
you
it's
don't
like,
want those guys playing each
yeah,
week.
but also like them having to come over to play a game, and it's like, oh, one of the island nations has just been ravaged by a cyclone, and it's like they're now coming to play.
The
for
Cyclones
Yeah.
will take a minute
Cyclone.
silence for the Cyclone.
And there's also one from New Guinea,
Hunters?
the New Guinea Hunters.
Yeah, see, they're already in the Q Cup. They got bumped up there. I'm not opposed to bumping up existing clubs. Give them a fucking stadium, give them a bit of infrastructure.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you another one. Redcliffe Dolphins red hot. If we're going to have to create one, I'd suggest you move one. And if you got to move the Titans, change the fucking name because that brand is fucking malignant.
Yeah, it's gross.
But Mackay Cutters as well. They got to get bumped up. Cutters is a sick name to have.
Cutters
in the
is a
NRL.
Cutters
nice
is an
name.
alright name.
Cutters. A lot of great names.
What is a cutter though? I'd like-
Sugarcane.
Okay, I
Mackay
like
region.
that. Again, that's appropriate to the area.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like that it's appropriate to the
Don't
area.
just come up with random shit.
And like I tell you, one of the worst names in Australian sporting history, the Melbourne Heart, which thank God was cancelled. Like that was cancelled completely. But it was
Melbourne
like
Heart.
the Melbourne Heart.
Was
Then-
that the beating heart of
yeah,
Melbourne?
What a
I bet it was
weirdly
spelled
like.
A too.
No, well, there's
H-A-R-T.
hearts in the Scottish Premier League for soccer.
Which is a problem for me because
Yeah.
it's not a
Yeah, but
what
it's
is
probably old as the hills, whereas
well, you know,
Melbourne...
yeah,
nah.
Scottish all right if you're going to do it in Scotland, but in
Yeah.
Australia where it's like this,
Yeah,
this
well,
team is
that's kind of what the
5
Broncos
minutes
are.
old.
The Broncos are based on pre-existing, like the Denver Broncos, and you know,
There is a bit of that, but luckily for us, or me personally anyway, the Broncos were around my entire life, so
Yeah.
I only associate Broncos
Yeah.
with Australia. Then I found out there was an American team
Yeah.
that also had Broncos
and that they were horses,
and that they were horses.
Oh, yeah.
not just blokes that
Not
play
just-
rugby league. for
Not just
Brisbane.
Alfie Langer.
I think of them as a once great team who
Yeah.
have now been appalling.
Yes.
Yeah, it hurts. I guess the glory days of the Broncos kind of ended with the pointy haircuts, right? Like that Carmichael.
David Beckham
Oh,
started
actually-
those haircuts, and
Yeah.
then it became like the David
Well,
Beckham
the
on top
Islander boys.
but it was like then it was a bit down the bottom as
Yeah.
well.
The Islander boys revolutionised the Mohawk mullet.
It all stopped when
Yes.
Darren left.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He kept
I
it
mean, there
together.
was a
He
grand
the glue.
final loss on the bell, but
But you lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But you
didn't-
lost. You
didn't-
lost the unlosable game. So you tell me.
Oh man, we were there. I tell you what, that would
So
have
was I.
it would have shat these poor Cowboy fans. We were in the fucking nosebleeds, and there were a lot of fucking wider Kubras on, like wider than this one I'm wearing, and these fuckers had been price gouged out the arse. Bob Carter was on the news talking about it. It cost something like $3,000 one way to get
Yeah,
from
dude,
Townsville to
every
fucking
airline,
Sydney for that grand
every
final.
airline was like, "Oh no, it's actually going to cost you like $700 one way." And
Oh,
they're like,
those
Yeah.
poor bastards.
fuck.
They're like, well, we're going, right?
It is supply and demand.
Yeah.
I mean,
True.
you know,
But it's also a gouge.
Yeah.
it is a gouge.
It's also, you're probably going to fucking fill up those flights anyway, so just...
Yeah,
let
that's
this-
it. Supply and demand, but also like, you know, sucked in, bro. We're jacking them up. Sorry, we're not sorry. The biggest travesty of that entire grand final is that Jonathan Thurston is the hero, because Michael Morgan's flick pass is the most ridiculous thing that I've ever seen on the bell. The bell is literally going as he's flicking the ball, and everyone's like, "Thurston's drop goal, man." I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. The only reason they were in that game is because of that flick pass.
Yes.
You know why Thurston's remembered, I think, fondly by the Cowboys especially, is because he's a politician. And he's been his whole career. He's very good at saying the right things, being in the right place at the right time. And when he called out Turnbull for that, Malcolm Turnbull for the new stadium on the fucking podium, and looked at him and said, "I think it's time for the Cowboys to get a new stadium." And the crowd went, yeah! And they fucking put shovels in the ground last week, I think. It's,
Oh, yeah,
it's,
yeah,
it's,
yeah.
it's
No,
underway.
no, no.
And
it's-
there is a
it's coming right.
statue. There's a statue being built right now in bronze of JT.
And so there should be.
Yes.
King of the North.
Yeah.
And so there
absolutely.
should be. Look, yes, it was Michael Morgan's flick pass that won it for them in the end, but he built the foundations. You know what I mean?
Yes.
He dragged them there.
Yes.
And just lastly, on this point of JT, he dragged them there over 10 years. Remember that.
That's what I mean.
I actually think that this is a strategy that some players, if they know they've got it early in their career, it's hard to know when you've got it, because we all thought Elon Bott would still be... Elon. We thought Leon Bott would still be playing now, and he'd be a fucking six-time premiership winner, but he obviously had some
you know what?
injuries
His
and
hairstyle suggested that maybe he wouldn't, but then again, JT had dreads. So.
Yeah. But is that a strategy for the greats to actually really ingrain themselves in greatness and possibly immortality, is to pick a team that they know they can work with and play the long game? JT did it.
JT did it.
Yeah.
Joey did
Joey
it.
did
Lockyer
it.
But
did it.
but
Smith did it.
Smith
Yeah,
did it,
Cam
you
did
reckon?
it.
I reckon
Yeah.
Pong was doing it right now.
Melbourne were very early in the going when he went
Yeah,
down there.
yeah.
He
Yeah,
only went down there because the Broncos wouldn't give him a run.
Yeah, right.
He was playing behind
That's
someone.
a fuck up. He was playing behind.
Who was he playing behind?
PJ Marsh or
Something like that. And he goes, fuck it, I want to play first grade footy every week, so I'm going to Melbourne.
Yeah, I wanna
that was
play-
why. I
I
didn't
wanna
go down
that
there
was
to
500
chase
games
rings.
ago. Ponga might be doing that right now, I reckon, because he's got the mentorship from JT. I reckon JT's just said, mate, those guys can do it. You just need to sit there and let them bring some young fellas through.
Well, the thing is with Newcastle, they're gonna, when it's all said and done, and it is now for them, they've had a shit season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You look at that team and you're like, bruh.
Yeah.
If you're not playing in the 8 with those cattle,
Then you've had a shit
something's
season.
wrong.
Yeah.
Something's fucked up.
Well,
They
the
were on that
coach is gone.
six-game winning streak. They were in the top 4 at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they fell off a cliff.
But the Rabbitohs did that. You have 3 years usually, right? You have 3 years of momentum.
Premiership windows, we call them.
Yeah.
And the Knights is not open, but it's like it's there.
It's not open
Yeah.
yet.
It's not closing. It's certainly on the way up if it's
Yeah.
doing anything. But they fucked up this year somehow. Like
Yeah.
they were going great. And then I don't know if it was Origin. I can't
Origin
remember
was
sort of
pretty-
my sort of rugby league timeline here, but they were going so well. Maybe it was that Mitch went and played Origin, then had an Origin hangover from the success. I don't know why they hated Nathan Brown.
Well, I think there's something there. That's
Millennial
not
group
talked
chats.
about.
Millennial group
Yeah.
chats.
That's it. I think that's the problem, right? And everyone's again, this is like old boy rugby league speak, but it's like, oh, these bloody new players, they can't take criticism. Like these younger players. So it's like if a coach reams you in front of a team for something you've done, the mentality, I think, of the Gen Y footballer is like calls their manager and goes, "Get me the fuck out of here."
Yeah.
But is that the fault then of the coach to not identify
That,
New.
that
That
footballers
these
are all
young
soft
boys are a
cocks.
bit soft?
Yeah, or
You know
just,
what I mean?
yeah,
It's not the 1980s when
they're
you
just
can
prickly.
just bark in people's
But
face.
also, I remember in 2003, Falago nearly killed Jason Taylor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
For that exact thing.
That's how serious it can get. It's like
Norfolk
you can either
Hotel,
call your
baby.
manager,
Jason
or you can
Taylor
be,
went head first down the
Or you can be
stairs at
David
Norfolk
Furlong.
Hotel.
It's lucky Jason's with us.
Yeah.
yes,
To
he
be
got
honest.
Yeah,
he
yeah.
got
You got Falago'd.
he got fed, and there's a photo of it. Seems like he took the selfie as well and then shared it around social media. But it's
Yeah.
like his face was mashed.
He got.
Oh, it was mashed.
But
He
also
was
David
barely
Farlongo,
recognised.
it's not like it was Luke Keary, you know, like David Farlongo was a beast. He was huge.
And he was volatile.
yeah, dude, he fucked up Braithen Astor once in a game.
Yeah.
And Braithen Astor was
That was
like,
the off your head moment.
Braithen Astor was like, why did you just hit me? Like,
Yeah,
it was one of those
Braith,
things where
and
he's
then
like,
Braith got penalised, and then that
And
was
then
the
Braith got
famous quote.
penalised.
He goes, "You're off your head.
you're off your head.
You're
Braith's
off your
literally
head."
pissing blood out his mouth, and he's literally just like made a tackle. Anyway,
But also, where would be the team if you were the youngest throbber with a big energy coming through right now? Where would be the team? I would almost say someone like Latrell, who's obviously at the mercy of journalists and meme pages and every fucking person with an opinion in the game. Here's an example. Latrell moves to Para and plays a 10-year long game. Do you think that would be a wise decision? Is
No.
Para that
No,
club?
no, because
not
they've been losers.
Yeah.
Take the 80s out, they've done
Well,
nothing but lose.
they've
Yeah.
got the longest premiership drought in the history currently,
Do you know
outside
what
of
I mean?
teams that haven't.
But
won.
they have
if
the
you wanted
money.
if you wanted to get better, it
Yeah.
depends what you want to do. If you want to own a club or you
Yeah.
want to get better. If you want to get better, you go to Melbourne.
Yeah.
Everyone says their systems are the best.
Yes.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone that knows anything says that. If you want to go own a
team.
JT Cowboy style.
But also,
where do you go?
Latrell's a centre, right? And like, unless he plays fullback or 5'8", a centre is never going to command fucking big dick money
Yeah,
because you're not involved enough in the game. Even that game against the Rabbitohs, not in the first week of the finals, but the last game of the regular season, he kind of just goes. Not that he goes missing, but it's hard to bring him into the game, even though he's so good.
Yeah.
If I was a young throbber,
Yeah.
with
Which you're only just not. You know,
you
you're
know,
only
Yeah.
just retirement
Yeah, that's
age
it.
now.
I am.
They're only,
You know what
there's,
the-
there's blokes older than you still playing.
And that is the only thing that's keeping me going because I tell you what, as soon as someone my age retires, not from like injury, then
Yeah.
that's
The
when
moment
it's
there's
done.
no one older than you playing, which isn't that far away.
No, well, you got
with the
Gallen
retirement
as
of Gallen this
Yeah,
year,
yeah.
you're
We're-
into
we're in a dangerous
trouble.
territory.
Well,
dangerous
there was the first Origin player this year born in the 2000s.
Yeah,
that's
David
pretty,
Fafita.
That's pretty fucked.
Yeah.
Dude, David Fafita and Payne Haas, dude. They were born in the year 2000.
That makes me sick.
Yeah.
I've never
Yeah.
thought about it that way. That is sickening.
Yeah. But so that's where I reckon that's where I'd go. I'd go to the Broncos. Now, only
So you reckon Broncos the club you can bring back to glory?
they're like to,
You could.
I tell you
and
what they are.
you'd be loved.
Yeah, for sure.
The Broncos are like
you'd
a-
have your face on airport parking posters
Everything.
for the rest
If
of your
you want to
life.
be
rich as fuck, go to the Broncos.
if you want to be a sick cunt alpha,
Yeah.
then
If
go
you-
and own the Broncos.
If
the
you
Bron-
want to read the weather in 30 years, go to the
If you
Broncos.
want to be set for life, win them a
Yeah,
premiership.
yeah. The Broncos are kind of like the idea of like a grower, not a shower. Right now, you would not pull them out. You know what I mean? But if you give them a couple of years with David Fafita, Payne Haas, Pangai Jr., and then if I were the young throbber coming in as like a playmaker,
Like a Dearden,
like a Dearden,
who's untested largely.
yes, but if he's,
maybe.
but it could be good,
Or
could be good.
perhaps the young Walker boy and his dads.
Yes, well, we've heard of it. There's a junior Walker coming through, but I thought he went to the Roosters.
I also big on the I'm big on the thing that the Walkers are not brothers, they're husbands, and that's their son. And they all moved there from Ippy to Brisbane. And
No, they've broken up now, dude. They've separated.
What?
Yeah,
The brothers?
They're no longer coaching. One of them left.
God damn it.
Yeah, dude. You know what? Even same-sex couples break up.
Yeah.
You know, that's just the
Same-sex
nature of
brother couple.
That's
Yeah.
That's disheartening.
Well, it is, but you
was
know
that
what?
over the? I bet you that was over the Titans thing. Mal fucked them. I bet you.
Well, that, yeah, I mean,
Allegedly.
I think it was.
Can I put a hot take out there to all your listeners?
Yeah.
Mal Meninga's not a good coach.
No,
Now,
he's not.
I know that's going to upset
He's a
a lot of
good,
people.
he's a good people person.
You look at Clancy's.
Hayden Rowe much?
Listen, I'm not saying that he isn't a great leader of man manager and he has got probably the greatest aura in the game of rugby league. But from the whispers that we hear, Eddie and myself,
And we hear him.
we hear whispers. It's that he himself isn't a good coach.
He's not an X's and O's guy.
Like,
he's
he's not-
I'm going to get you up through.
He put an article out in the Telegraph like
Passion.
last week, and it was like the players the Titans are chasing, and it was like David Fafita just re-signed with the Broncos, or about to. Charles Nickel-Klogstad, literally the day before or 2 days
Yeah.
before, signed a 3-year deal. He outlined every
that-
long-term signed player in the competition. It was
That's
like,
but I guess an Origin coach isn't a coach. The Origin coach is
No.
an appearance
Well,
fee.
Brad
It's an
Fittler
appearance
is.
fee.
Yeah.
Well,
is he a coach or is he just the fucking?
Well, the thing
is
is,
this just an
Brad just gets you in the right mindset,
Yeah.
right, and then gets the right people around you.
you're right, and maybe you're right.
Because what does he do? He brings Joe in to work with the halves.
Yes.
Yeah, you go do that.
Yeah,
you go
but-
do
yes.
that.
but
I'll just
also,
make sure everyone's.
You're not going to get a team together.
Maybe an Origin coach is a bit more like a producer, and
Yeah.
you're sort of going like, we need this person here to
Yeah,
mix
director.
that up, a
Yeah.
director to
director.
make these sort of things work.
Yeah, yeah.
But Mal himself, and again, Mal, I know you're listening, and I apologise. It's not about you, but this is just what we hear, and we've got to go off what we hear.
if you don't like it, control the whispers.
Exactly, mate. Control the narrative, and he's not a great coach. And the Titans, as with him as their sort of like,
Well, they've gone backwards.
he also tipped him to win the comp at the start of the year. I don't know if anyone remembers that. I went on a deep dive trying to
Well,
find
him as
the audio.
like football director or head of culture or whatever it is.
Yeah.
They've gone backwards.
Well, they fucking should have taken the Walkers, and what they should do is sell the fucking club to some developer from down there and start rorting the salary cap. That's the only way you
100%.
can win.
You got to rort the salary.
The
cap.
NRL just need to dust their hands of it and just go and just admit defeat. And the AFL won't be far behind them because you can't get anything off the ground up there and just go fuck it, move
Well,
on.
it's a transient
And that's
culture.
it.
It's a transient society.
You go there when you're
It's
running away
cash.
from something,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
You're not
yeah.
going there to like set up. It's like,
Give some footy club your fucking bank details.
exactly.
Keep your nose clean. You're
You're
laying
trying
low.
to change your identity and like not have anyone know who you are when you go to the Gold Coast.
I mean, how many people live on the Gold Coast?
I think it's
About 1 million.
Yeah.
They've got 8,000 rugby league members in a million.
Another thing is,
Bruh.
there's no kids there. Not many kids there. You don't take your you don't move your young family to the Gold.
No, of
there's
course
kids
you
there,
don't.
but you don't move there with your family.
Those kids
Only
are,
bull sharks and sorrow. But anyway, yeah.
and strip clubs. You know, it's
Just quickly before we go, fellas, AFL Grand Final or the AFL Finals in general. Thoughts?
AFL finals
Yeah.
thoughts. See, now this is a tough one only because my AFL days are long behind me. I've got a grandfather who played for St Kilda, believe it or not.
Do you really?
Pre-war.
Never heard that.
Pre-war.
News to me.
Now listen, could it have been a train and trial and he didn't get a contract? I don't know. I'd prefer to say that he played.
Well, if I played for that club, I wish that I wouldn't come back from the war. You know?
AFL. Look, the most exciting thing from the AFL Grand Final, I think, is the Brisbane Lions.
we should just say now this is based purely on sports betting kind of numbers you've been looking at. You've been following this shit religiously.
Oh, as in like the punting on AFL? Fucking absolutely not. But I think Brisbane Lions is the one that's
They got some heat.
Brisbane Lions and Richmond,
Yep. Okay.
Collingwood.
Look,
Who else is in there? West Coast.
I'd like to see Brisbane return to the promised land.
It's coming
you know
home.
What I mean?
It's coming home.
After their 3 in a row in the early 2000s.
I
It'd
like
be nice
Brisbane.
to see them go
They
back.
call it a three-peat.
Just because I like to see a team outside of Victoria get the chockies.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
good for the game.
Exactly.
Hey?
And you know what? All we want is to see AFL do well.
Sure.
That's all we need.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
we just want them to learn their manners and stop doing it. Anyway,
Yeah.
Well, that'd be nice, but unlikely.
Fuck Victoria.
just lastly,
If you,
are we
I
com-
would, I like to say this though: if you want to make some value over the NRL final season, Manly at 34-1,
Yeah.
value.
Yeah, there is value.
If you feel
Okay.
if you need money to build a house or buy a yacht or go on an
this
extravagant
might be
holiday, that's
a redundant tip by the time this podcast is. Actually,
Well, look-
are they still in? No, they'll be out by the time.
well,
if Manly were to by some fluke not win on the weekend, then this would be a redundant tip.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Okay.
I think probably worth keeping it in regardless because
They're gonna-
it'll hold us to account.
Okay. Good. Good. Well, thanks for joining us, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thanks,
always
guys.
a pleasure
Having
to
us.
come in, boys. Always a pleasure.
You've been
see you
listening to the Batuta Advocate radio show on Desert Rock FM with Clancy Errol. with Clancy Overall and Errol Parker. And, of course, Tom and Eddie from Hello Sport. See you next week.
See you soon.
You're listening to Errol Parker and Clancy Overall, editors of the Batuta Advocate, on Desert Rock FM.